translational medicine is a branch of medicine which is concerned with taking an idea from bench to bedside. So from idea level to a patient level, so that it can be effective. So when you have any innovative idea, you have to convert that idea which is useful to the patient. So this is so if you have a translational medicine exposure to a medical student right in the medical college days, that will be exposing our young budding doctors, aspiring doctors, to this window of innovation and medical products, how how they are important, and how disease management with the innovative ideas can be transformed. So like early exposure is good during medical colleges. That's what I meant when I said that translational medicine, like international universities in US and Europe, they have dedicated chair for translational medicine. We don't have anything of that sort in our universities or medical colleges or pharmacy colleges. So it is required where you not only require the subject insight like medical insight, organic chemistry insight, or biology insight, but you also require knowledge of the regulatory science. What studies to be done, how to do the drug development. This is what all translational medicine deals with. India should be India has to be transformed from a developing country to a developed nation, as the vision has been given in 2047. So for doing that, we need to innovate in every space, including the disease and therapy space as well. So we need to innovate. So if we have to innovate, then we need to do not only other basic research but also clinical research. Clinical research, why India is ideal? Because though India has a population of around 16% of the whole world, but as you said rightly, that 2% of the clinical trials take place in India, or clinical research takes place in India. So we have a huge burden of disease burden in India. We have a huge network of medical colleges and private hospitals. We have a good set of clinicians who can who can take part in clinical trials. We have a good laboratory setup. So everything is there in place. So what we need is, we need to conduct more clinical trials, and how it will benefit everyone concerned. So this is how, from just pharmacy of the world, we need to graduate more. Pharmacy we are already, but we need to go to one more step higher up, and we need to become a clinical research hub of the world, so that most clinical trials are carried out in India. And it will be good for everybody, because for the multinational also, the cost of clinical research in India will be much less compared to the clinical research being carried out in US and Europe. So it will benefit all concerned. So this is where, and the Indian patient community also ultimately will benefit, because they will be getting those treatments of rare disease research. So everything has to be research, and then it comes to practice. So India should take part, and clinical research is a very important. Majority of the drug development cost, more than 60% is in the clinical research part. So this is where I think this should take place more in our country. Most of the research costs, right from drug development cost to lead optimization, all other things, chemistry part, the biology part, the major cost is of the clinical research. So if clinical research obviously takes place, then the value chain is also occurring significantly in India. India is not left behind. So this is important. So ultimately we need to progress to that part. And since, say, a country like Japan, it wants to do clinical research, but it cannot, because the population is small, the country is small. Disease burden is not there to that extent. We have a huge disease burden, huge population, and all variety of diseases, right from infective diseases to lifestyle diseases. Now even lifestyle diseases are exploding in India. You see the recently conducted ICMR INDIAP survey, where we have 30%, almost nearly 30% of the adult population is obese. And if you give the definition of obesity to abdominal obesity, which is much more dangerous, then we have 40% of the elder population being suffering from this abdominal obesity, which drives various chronic diseases like diabetes and coronary artery disease and all those things. So this is very, very important for us to you know uh, do research in this area. Abdominal obesity. Yes. So overall, your BMI is not high, yes, but you have a tummy which is protruding, and that is the cause of various chronic diseases like coronary artery disease, diabetes. So these are all, ultimately these all drive other diseases like chronic kidney disease, hypertension. So these are, we term it them lifestyle diseases. So we need to again, since we are affected in a major way, India is going to be the diabetes capital of the world. Significant burden of diabetes is already there in our country. We need to innovate in this space. See, when you want to innovate in a disease space, you want to have new therapies. So you need to understand that disease, and then you will understand the, the treatment or the therapy which is used for that disease. So if you want to do anything new, you need to know the disease very well. So that is disease inside. You also need to know the therapy or current treatment which is there already which is there in this space. So now what new you can do? So you need to have that treatment therapy gap. What is existing therapy means existing what you use already for managing the disease currently, or what is that which can do more to manage this disease in a better way, so that the life expectancy improves, the disease management improves further, the complications become less, or the disease progression is reduced. So all these things are important. Indian companies are mostly dealing with generic products. Okay, so cost of drug development is very high. So Indian companies, once India, the regulation of India was that we didn't recognize product patents earlier, prior to 1995. India was not signatory to GATT. So, Indian companies had the luxury of introducing any product which the multinationals had researched and come out. We didn't have the product patent, but we had the process patent. So if you make it by a different process, you can have that product, quickly quickly without bothering the intellectual property. So that was the scenario prior to 95. After 95, India signed that GATE agreement, and India became part of this. So now Indian companies are deprived of the luxury of introducing patented products. So till the product's patent life, Indian companies now cannot go there unless they get it in license from the multinational companies. So multinational company will out license to which Indian company? Those who have a large presence in that area. Those who are larger players, they will, okay, so that to make it bigger, to make it accessible to the Indian population, which is huge, they will themselves market at the most, or they will give it to big Indian companies. But mid-size and smaller Indian companies don't have that. So that is one part. So how to you have new products, because new products are required for growth and survival. So there is one area where multinational companies don't go. The multinational companies model is that all new drugs are better than existing drugs. That's their premise, because then only they will research into that. Then only they will work on that product. So their model is that all new therapy which they come out, all new product which they come out is better than whatever product is already existing. But this is true at the most 8 out of 10 times. 2 out of 10 times the existing product, the new product is not better than the existing products. So that is the space where Indian companies need to research. Multinational don't come into this area because in the off patent space or in the generic space, they don't have they can't deal with that, because there is no profit no profit motive for them. Nothing wrong, but their model doesn't allow them to deal with innovation in the generic space. Indian companies by nature only so far deal only with generic in the generic space. So when a new products are still not better than the existing product, there Indian companies can definitely, it is good for everybody, because it is good for care providers, because it is, the existing drug is much economical than any new drug comes. So the medical practitioners, they know about this drug because it is already there in the market for long. So good part of the drug, bad part of the drug is all known to the medical providers. So it is good for everybody. For healthcare provider also it is good. Insurance cost is less, reimbursement costs are less. Except the multinational company, they don't profit here. If the generic space you carry out innovation and it turns out to be good, there is it's good for everybody else. except this the MNC players, where because their play is already in the new drug space, isn't it? So this is where I'm coming from. So what I mean to say is innovating in the generic space is an incremental innovation, where you already know about the drug, many things about the drug you already know. Then what you need to know is whatever new thing you are carrying out. Suppose a drug is already there in some other space, and now you find that there is a role for this drug in the new disease. So you need to do that bridging studies to show that okay, in the whatever innovation you have thought, you have to generate the data and show that yes, it is effective in this space. So this is where you take advantage of that. This is called as bridging studies. So you need not carry full drug development studies. You need not have to undergo phase one, phase two study. You can straight away go to phase two study, or you can do proof of concept and then do a larger study. So you don't have that burden of carrying out entire drug development pathway because it's not a new drug. Many things about this drug are known. So you need bridging studies. So in the US, there is a definite pathway for such incremental innovation. This is called as 505(b)(2) pathway, where you carry out clinical uh, trial to demonstrate that innovation part, and you get 3 to 5 years exclusivity. So nobody else can enter for 3 to 5 years till you, since you are the first one to do this innovation. Similarly, in Europe, there is a hybrid pathway. Hybrid meaning you already know what is there about the drug, what is new. So this is a hybrid pathway. But in India, there is no such pathway defined for the such incremental innovation. So there is a need to devise this, and there should be some incentive when you carry out this. So if there is some incentive, then people will enter into this space because they know now we will get some advantage of doing, working in this particular area, which is good for everybody. It's where, yeah. Yeah, I think this is what I mean to say. What I have shown in my presentation in the morning is that uh, many mid-size and smaller players can also do work in this area because the drug development cost is not very high. So developing your idea is the cost is not very prohibitive. So more players can innovate in this space. So then they will be exposed to doing new things. So ultimately, finally, you have to graduate to the new drug application and everything. Ultimately, we have to go. We don't have to remain only in the generic space. We need to move out also. But in the interim, there is a lot of potential in the existing generic that we need to exploit.